Hey guys, so a quick note before we start this episode. This style of this video is going to be similar to what you saw last time with the cutting in and cutting out style for the reaction side. Look, YouTube has come down pretty hard on us as of late on our channel. So we're going to have to change. We are going to have to change a few things about how we do videos going forward. And I will address that in a future video. Just know for now, guys, that we cannot do it like we used to, like in Angamali Diaries and Danmatra and, a few of the ones we've done recently, which are the one, no break in the take style of reaction. So this is going to be like last time. It will be edited. It'll look different. It's a bit similar to what you see on channels that like watch movies on their channel and like just watch an entire movie and it keeps cutting in and cutting out. Our small reaction size section of our video has to be like that as well. And it's a shame, but I'll get into it more in another video over the weekend, hopefully. But just know, guys, we recorded this episode before we knew about this information. So this information is very new to us. So we couldn't actually record how we wanted to, knowing this information. So future ones will be different and they'll be better planned. But as for now, this one is going to have to just be like, yeah, it is what it is, guys. I'm sorry. And again, it's a Tamil dub. I sincerely apologize. I did not know about that. It's not, we've done like 70 movies or something like that at this point. I've lost count, but and this is the first time this has happened. So, it's next time we'll make sure to get the Malayalam version. But yeah, guys, enjoy the show. We really enjoyed this movie and we love talking with you guys in the comment section. It's been so much fun getting so many deep insights from you guys. So yeah, enjoy, guys. Realize, because you have the scene right here. The pool is calm. Let it just be. We don't have to do anything else from here. Set it free, do whatever you want, or just leave it alone. You don't have to commit anything. It's your decision point. It's such a crucial scene. And yep, what the decision they make is probably not the one that works out too well for them, I guess. But let's continue on. Yep. It's so calm. It sounds.
And that's all you need is that brief flash. That's it. But this, I love this too.
That's incredible.
And then how fast the rain stops.
Yep. Nature. Oh boy.
Unreal.
Just fantastic, man. Yeah. It's like, when I was watching this for the second time, it's just like, it tells you again, like, nature is patient. Like it's giving them a second chance here to be like, hey, it's raining now. Stop. Don't do what you're doing. But the impatience, the frenzied nature. It's actually funny. Like this actually reminds me a little bit of we talked a lot about nature also in our other movie that we talked about a while ago called Perembu, if you remember that one, and how powerful nature was there. This is sort of another sort of hand in hand kind of thing. It's to show you the dangers of nature in this one. So yeah, little parallels between those two movies, which are completely worlds apart in terms of directors and actors and everything like that.
Because that's the whole thing. Nature is all about that balance. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I think what we're being told, what we're instructed to think, and what we want everyone to know leaving the theater is that when it's out of balance, this is what happens. Right? Like, so this community that we see briefly, at the beginning of the movie, we can tell that it is weighted so hard toward this thing that the literal ropes that they're carrying with them everywhere, which is absurd to think that you can stop this thing. Like, it doesn't matter how many people you have pulling one of those ropes. We just saw hundreds of people pulling these ropes. You're not going to stop that creature. You know, it was only at the place that you put it earlier because it was put there and under duress, right? And like it is fully capable of doing whatever it wants. So we're out of balance. This community is out of balance. These people are out of balance. Everything happening here is out of balance, and it's just dominoes falling. It's just dominoes falling. And the moment you see those raindrops, you know what's about to happen as an audience member, and still you see it in everyone's eyes. Like, no, we got this, because you either want to get some of the meat for yourself, you either want to benefit from it yourself, you either want to cling to somebody and say that you were a hero in the situation, or you hope somebody will say your name somewhere.
Yeah.
And it all explodes in an instant. And we actually have a death as a result. One, in this instance, that will lead to a cascading series of events for more later on, because we keep pushing. And that balance is declining and declining and declining. And it's just especially with the totemic effort it must have taken. And I don't know who his rain people are.
Yeah.
They're extraordinary. And I don't know how we keep the lens as clean as we do. It's unbelievable. It is. I want to study it. You know, I really do. How?
It's crazy,
so much effort.
No.
But having all of that there and then all of it gone in an instant. Is breathtaking.
Yeah. And just the parallels that they also do, right? The way that this sort of movie started with the whole, obviously the face up was there, but the whole basically, you know, I guess moving photography, if you want to call it, with the, you know, flashing, moving, had that again here, like takes you back to sort of where we were at the start. So again, the foreshadowing, some of the techniques he's using once again coming into play. It's fantastic. There's so much to like about sort of this scene, and there's so many ways you could sort of, I guess, break it down. But again, to me, just the cinematic masterpiece of this is you're just entranced. Again, like that's the experience with so many Lijo movies. You're just like entranced in all his movies. In certain scenes, you're just like sucked in. We had that with the scene before, and it doesn't leave us here at all. Like we get to see it happen, and it's just like, you're right. It's a blink and you miss it scene with the body just flying off the thing, but it's so effective. You know, we just see this body just in free fall and just basically gone as a result of sort of the decision making that's gone on here, the frenzied nature, the, you know, chaotic nature that's going on, and you're right, so many things that I play here, because like again, like Pepe's character, he basically wants to you know, show everyone, hey, they could have killed the bull and been done with it, but ego, you want to call it, or proving yourself, whatever, you know, he's pulling it out, and I want to make sure I'm the one that shows that I'm the one that took this beast down. It's just so much there, man. And again, with the chanting again, it's again reminding me of just, you know, Kunjapan scene. We're coming here again singing. It's very sort of, at the end when we saw the prehistoric times, it's just something raw about this movie, which this sort of does, you know, music in its purest form, I guess, with just people screaming, you know, something that takes us back to sort of that, again, beautiful concept that he's sort of driven throughout this movie, and it really hits us at the end there, I think, with sort of, you know, taking us back to the prehistoric times. But even before that, you feel that from the bellowing of the animal to the chanting. It's fantastic, man. It's
and then the moon here at the end, exactly where you decided to stop it is perfect, because it brought to mind, as I was watching that scene again, there's an amazing book out there called The Indifferent Stars Above, and it's all about the Dahmer party, and it takes you from how they just were, you know, starting out on their journey across the Americas and what led to the really unfortunate situation in the Sierra Nevada mountains. But The Indifferent Stars Above, like nature, that stuff up there, it doesn't care. It's weathered thousands upon thousands of eons of epochs of whatever is happening below it. And we are so infinitesimal, and what we do must be such a jest that it just sits up there and watches. You know, it's indifferent, totally indifferent. The moon was still right there. It's not shocked. No, it knows this is going to happen, you know? And it's a really, really smart thing to include that shot real quick, just to kind of remind you, like, oh, I guess,
things are still moving. Same way, again, parallels with the first scene that we reacted to, right? With nature being, you know, showing us how insignificant we actually are in the last scheme of things. Just pulling us back there, I think. It's just, it's a great shot as well. So, you know, But yeah, let's carry on, man. We're going to get into some pretty intense scenes towards the end now, I think. Wow, man.
Oh, that jump.
Man, that's Boulder. Animalistic.
Especially that, like,
yeah,
ripping hands.
Man, what a brawl. Boy.
It's just one of the most, it maybe highlights everything that the movie does. And even though we get that final scene, I think that's what the movie has really been trying to tell us through the two characters that we loosely follow the most throughout the movie. You know, this is essentially who they are. They're stripped bare, they're laid bare, and these are who these people are. And they're just screaming and grunting and clawing and fighting and smashing and brutalizing. And like, the only intent is to survive or be on top of the other. That's it. It's so locked inside the mind that when nature itself throws in what we've taken to be our adversary, this is pretty much the first time that we see that it just ultimately doesn't matter. It was never about that. It was always about who's going to be on top, who's going to get what, how can I position myself? And this, like, the clashing nature of human ambition as portrayed in something like a show I'm really enjoying right now, Succession, is how much wealth and power can you present to the world, and how can you really be that? Where here it's how can you be sure of your dominion over someone else? And when someone else is 20,000 people behind you, you just turn because of nature and start trying to do it by any means necessary. Words fail. And in those cases, you just turn to your fists, you turn to your nails, you turn to your teeth, and you just pile on one another or try to rip each other apart. And I've only ever seen a fight this kind of brutal and raw and uncharacteristic in one other thing, and that was in Deadwood, where essentially two number twos of the respective, you know, this person and this person in that old Western town, they just set their number twos against one another. And it's very similar to this. It's brutal, it's bloody, it's muddy, it's not perfect, everything is rough, and they are just flesh versus flesh. There's no art, there's no subtlety, there's no grace, there's no calculation, there's no efficiency. It's just, I am going to end you. Wow.
Yeah, it's a hell of a scene, man. I think you've summed it up basically perfectly. I don't think I can even add too much more to that perfect summation, man. It's pretty awesome. But I mean, just again, like just the cinematography and everything like that. Like, my God, this is like I don't know where he's getting light from in this scene, man. Like, he's in a forest. There might be some flashes of light here and there, but yet it's still so visible. Like that's something I really appreciate about his movies. Like, we saw it in Ima Yao as well. Like it's at times like it's completely dark and he just looks like he's using moonlight. And I think we had someone mention in our comments that he uses the big balloon type of lighting.
No, it's definitely a soft, like, what I appreciate about it is that nothing is overblown, right? Like me right now in the dark, obviously I am lit. And the way that he uses lighting, it does not look obvious that you're lit. It looks natural to the human eye, the way your eye adjusts when you have very little light. And it's just stunning.
Yeah, no, I mean, another hallmark of his filmmaking is authenticity. So that has to sort of come across in the lighting as well, I think, right? So we saw that in all his movies so far. It's so real and so raw. And of course, this one, I mean, even the way that they're fighting once again, and like I was thinking like it's like a pack of animals just going after each other. Like, it's so animalistic. Even the panting, the grunting that they're having, and like the screaming, the way they're brawling, and again, just throwing each other down. It's like a pack of wolves just going after each other. That's what it would look like. And then a bull comes and they actually have a chance, as you said, to finish this off. It's like it was never about that. This is
never
the bull
about
is
that.
just being the bull is just being used basically to tell some other stories. Because there's one sub story here. The movie also has a whole bunch of different sub stories which we didn't even get through or get to in these reactions, because there's a whole story with the police and stuff like that. There's a story with the
wedding,
the father, and what's it called? His daughter elopes with the guy, or tries to elope with the guy. Then there's a church story as well, and their whole thing about getting the land and all this stuff. There's a whole bunch of side stories also happening, and this is just, I feel like this is also a kind of a side story within the mix. But again, you could watch this again and watch it on a different lens and understand those a bit more as well. So it's just one piece of the puzzle that's here with these two, but there's so much more to it that we experience, but we're not going to talk about so much in this one. Again, the thing we talked about with the guy, with sort of the monologue about how times have changed and how it's not how it used to be, and like I came and set up a cross here. There's so much in this movie, but definitely we're picking the ones that are just like whoa, And speaking of that, guys, brace yourselves, because we're in for a big one here. We're in for a big one, guys. This is going to be the climax scene we're going to react to. Obviously, this is the longest scene in the movie. I think it's the longest scene in the movie. Well, I don't know how to describe. It's the longest reaction that we're going to be doing. I guess I'll put it like that. It's the one that seems like it stretches the longest, I would feel, compared to everything else we've seen. But yeah, man, let's get into this one, man. That's shot.
God, it's amazing. With actual flame.
I know. Oof. Oh my God.
Mind-boggling.
Jeez. Jeez, man.
With faces.
Yeah.
Coming from the other side as well.
I know. The sheer volume of people is just... Oh my God. Oh. Oh, of course this. Oh, this shot.
And the sound intercut with it like pigs.
Oh. So raw. Dude.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh my. Ooh. Oh my God. Wow.
I really struggle to say anything more than anyone already thinks about that scene, right? And the way that it gets there. And we've already made our point about what the movie was trying to say, and it's all right there. I just to condense everything down into what you always talk about with sound design and nothing being an accident and everything. And I just thought about this. Everything is like a handshake in these movies. Everything shakes the hand of the next, which shakes the hand of the next, which shakes the hand of the next. And it's always necessary. And as you've said a few times, there is no fat. And here we burned the fat away with a cinder, and it was just so immediately apparent that we're going to not only not go after the buffalo, we're going to crush it into the mud because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is this and this and this and hit and crawl and crunch and bleed and push and power and mud and raw and viscera. And the juxtaposition of that was the old man taking his breath, looking out the window and seeing something in the wild, right? Like
in complete silence.
And that was complete silence. So by the time we get that explosion back out and we see all those torches continuing to run back toward that just massive dog pile of horror, like those are the two sides of nature. And that's where it like almost came back into balance, because I think that's what we're ultimately leaning toward. Like, this is a part of it and this is a part of it. And I hope you get to spend as much time as possible in that bed just looking out a window and enjoying. Because if you give in to baser nature, it'll look a hell of a lot like the last 5 minutes of this movie. And it was so powerful. Like it just immediately, and you said it haunted you, right?
Yeah, it's haunting.
Yeah.
This one
like
is
you don't
haunting.
You don't want to see that happen to an animal. And I don't know whether or not this was a live animal in here or not. I got to believe a little bit of the two. And I'm not entirely sure what happened. We're not here to talk about that. We're just here to talk about the movie and the way it was executed, which is flawlessly. It is a economical, immediate punch to the gut and wake up to your senses to remind you. Try to find that balance. And it's extraordinary. And I can't, like, I'm glad we're taking a break from talking about his movies because I would run out of things to say. I honestly would. Like, what are we going to, masterful, incredible, wonderful, should be known by everybody out there in the industry, like a microcosm of everything I've seen in this genre and the films that are made in this region, and just a stellar example of how films can be made. Like, we'll take a little bit of time. It's not that we're never going to watch them again. We're just going to take a little bit of time so that by the time we discuss them again, we don't sound like broken records.
Yeah. No, this one, I mean, like, look, it's not the first time he's left us completely, shell-shocked with the ending. Here, we just had sort of in EMIU. It was, I mean, honestly, all the ones that I've seen, like, even the ones I've seen with Truly, and I think Truly had a really good ending, and obviously Angamali Diaries and EMIU, and this one, they just leave you in a complete state of shock. Like, this one was just like, but this one felt like, yeah, it's a bit more haunting in nature, because even with EMIU, with the death, it is a bit more, I'd say, theatrical. There's nothing that's that you can appreciate about this. It's just like, obviously you appreciate the cinematography, and what he's done is just absolutely stunning. But like at a raw level, at a basic level, you're seeing it and you're just like, this is disturbing, like what's happening here. Like, this is quite hard to watch at times. Like, this is a little bit uncomfortable, but you're just so mesmerized by what's going on. You just can't help but look away. The scenes of like Antony Varghese just just hands, blood
fingers,
all over, hands. Just there's something just so raw, and that's what this movie does so well from the start, from the cutting of the flesh that we saw in the first montage, to all the way here where we're seeing it. It doesn't really give us a break from that sort of theme. And again, the sounds are going on, and just the sheer volume of people. We saw this in the last one, Angamali Diaries, where he obviously knows how to work with people, but in this one, them all just coming together, it was like endless.
Running.
It felt infinite. Like, it didn't feel like there was an end to it. It felt like there were more people in this scene than any other scene in the movie altogether. So they've obviously just, collected everybody they could, but it's probably more symbolic just to show, how when this happens like this, it captures everybody, and it's just nonstop. And the way it's happening so rapidly, the stuff that he's done with sort of the photography from a long distance to show you how wide it is, to bring you in close, to give you that intimacy again.
To the people falling off,
Yes, the people running and falling off, the faces that they're running while they're running towards it with the flames and everything like that. He's done such a masterful job of capturing a scene. If you want to study how to shoot film, watch his work, but just watch this scene and see how much he's able to do in here. The fact that he decides to take us away for a second to show us the bull in a happier place and the old man coming back to life, in heaven is what I would assume. It's just, it just takes you out of it completely. But when you're back, that contrast again is just such a shock because of how well he's done it. It is just fantastic, man. Like, despite how disturbing it is to see a poor bull, sort of having to be trampled on like that, and seeing these people just destroy themselves through their own will, essentially, it is just breathtaking, man. Like, I think we had a recent sort of fan of ours at 69 CDS. I think he or she mentioned something along the lines of basically their limbs were shaking after watching this. Felt the same way.
I could get
like it was, it was like, whoa. Watching it again, I was like, whoa, It's like,
well, we had the benefit of having watched it after having watched a bunch of other films, and having been teed up a little bit to just like, even just the splash image, right? That pops up when you look it up online, kind of lets you know what you're going to get yourself into. And then you've got time to build yourself up. Imagine just being a fan of some of his other films and going to see this in a theater with no idea what you were really getting into. Imagine the people around you just shocked and stunned into silence. When I went to see A Quiet Place here in the US, there was that, and I'm sure this was a communal experience in any theater that showed it, but there was a pin drop silence through any time in the movie where the adversarial creatures had showed up, and that's so wild in a movie theater. Like, that level of quiet. And I'm sure a similar thing happened here, especially the first time that bellow kind of echoed throughout the theater, right? Like, it must have been extraordinarily jarring. You know you're going to watch a movie with some pathos. You're going to have a theme. You're going to walk away asking some questions about a place or a people or yourself. And you do all of that here as a direct result of watching people rip each other apart.
Yep. And you see it.
See it.
Doesn't hold back. The blood is there on the hands. You see his face completely torn apart. It's as graphic as it could get, like without being gory. Like that's the genius of this. Like you see this kind of stuff in probably, maybe slasher films or something like that are meant to create shock. But this is on a different level. This is just like, whew, it hits you somewhere else in a different way altogether.
Unreal.
But yeah, man, it's unreal. This movie is fantastic. I'm so glad we watched this one. And again, we didn't sort of mention, I do want to talk about that little bit of how you
that comment.
This, because I think I can't ignore this one, man. Like, because after watching this, I read this and I was like, this makes sense. So again, thank you, Jacob. You had sent this at the start of our journey, and it's been integral in our entire month, honestly, that we've been doing this. But essentially, now this does serve as a part of a trilogy. As we mentioned before, now Emayu was the first one. This is part 2, and it makes sense to continue on from that. And part 3 is Truly, which, Doug, you're going to have to watch sometime down the line. We're going to do a rewatch, and amazing movie. And I can tell why. I can tell why he told me to watch this movie second, because it makes a lot of sense as to, if you watch number 3, that sort of the journey you go on with these characters, or I guess the people in the movie, I guess, you can see a gradual decline, because Truly is like a completely different place altogether. It's like, it's like it takes it. You want to talk about rawness? This shows you rawness in a physical form. That shows you rawness in like a more, I guess, humanistic form, I guess, with the way people are. But I'll read the comment about purgatory. So this is part 2, and this is about purgatory. So Jallikattu. This is the second step of purgatory, where God gives the sinned people a final chance to attain heaven. Here, God gives them a test, and if he does a sin again on the test, God sends him to hell, else to heaven. So we saw that multiple times. It's actually multiple tests. That's what I was sort of mentioning before. It's like, we're giving you a chance here. It's raining. Stop it. Like, it's in the well now. Stop it. Nope. So, people cannot avoid that. But so in Jallikattu, the test was Jallikattu. The test was the bull escape. The last scene shows that all the villagers are sin people who failed the test by capturing the bull. The movie shows the sins of greed. We saw that basically throughout the movie. Lust, which we didn't really touch on too much, but there was a whole...
That was a brutal scene to watch.
That was, exactly. That was a whole... Again, so many sub-stories in this that are just there, packed in, condensed, but all have a part to play in it. But, Anthony's character, pride, yes, obviously that's a big one. Whoever wants to capture the bull, and also many others, which, again, so many layers to this one. You can also see an old man sitting, attaining heaven amongst the crowd of sinners at that scene, which shows a bull as well. So again, you can have a whole different lens on this movie, but watching it like this as well, like it plays into that, and it makes so much sense. He obviously has a higher picture as to what he's trying to achieve through these 3 movies and how to link them. And I think he's done that fantastically, honestly. After watching all 3 of them, they are just treats. Like it's fantastic, man. But thanks so much, man, for the comment, and thank you for everyone who's been on this journey with us. If you watched all of our reactions and reviews, guys, you are an absolute legend. We have enjoyed this so much. It's been such a great journey, and we're looking forward to doing more sort of classical stuff, because we've been getting a lot of suggestions to be like, hey, this is the best movie the industry's ever done. So we're going to be looking at them. We're going to be looking at them next at this point. So we might have a bit of a break and do some more commercial stuff for the rest of this month. But in the month of December, we're going to get back to looking at some pretty wild things. But Doug, any sort of final thoughts before you wrap up?
No, just I agree. Thank you so much to everyone. And, please leave us comments, and we'll try to engage with you as much as humanly possible, because it means the world to us. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It feels like we've made a million friends, and we're just further uncovering stuff that we should have known about, and we're getting there. And I just thank you all so much for taking the time for watching us. That's unbelievable to us, and it means more than you can know.
Definitely. It's been such a great journey, guys, and we'll be back soon. So, Doug, this was as always. Absolute blast, man.
Extremely wonderful. Yeah.
And we'll be back to do it soon. So, catch you on the next one, man. So.